And so if you think about it, these startups have disrupted long-standing industries that have been around for a long time, and really from a standing start. And it's why when we thought about what we should choose as a theme for the keynote today, we kept coming back to this same topic, which is the question and the topic we talk most about with companies, which is how should we think about transforming ourselves? How can we reinvent our business and our customer experience so we can be meaningful and sustainable over a long period of time? And transformation can mean transforming yourself, or it can mean transforming to meet new technology situations or opportunities. And so this transformation question was the #1 question. And so we thought we would share with you what we think are 6 of the most critical components if you're going to make a significant transformation. If there's a big change and a big transformation that you have to make, you don't want to procrastinate. It doesn't get easier if you wait. In fact, the ditch gets deeper. And so when you think about the first element of a big type of transformation like this, it turns out it's not technical. It's all about leadership. And so when we look at the companies that make this transformation successfully versus those that just talk about it, there are 4 differentiators. The first is you actually need to figure out how to get your senior team aligned that you're going to make this change. It's not easy to make a big shift like this, and inertia is a very powerful thing, and it's easy to block in various parts of the organization, sometimes for well-intended reasons and sometimes for self-interested reasons, but it's easy to block. And if you don't find a way to have that senior management conviction and alignment that you're going to make that change and find a mechanism to get the issues on the table so you know you're making progress and you don't go several months down the road thinking you're making progress when you're not, you won't make that change. So you need that senior level alignment. The second thing you need right alongside that is you need an aggressive top-down goal that forces the organization to move faster than it organically otherwise would. And let me give you 2 counterexamples of this point. So if you think about several years ago, the CIO of GE, Jamie Miller, decided that she thought it was critical that GE move to the cloud to move much more quickly. And she got her top technical leaders together and said, we're going to move 50 applications to AWS in the next 30 days. And she said for 45 minutes, they told her what a dumb idea that was and how it would never work. And she listened to them very patiently, said, I hear you, but we're going to do it, so let's go. And they got to about 42 applications in 30 days, but along the way, they figured out their security model, their governance model, their compliance model, and they had success and built momentum. And all of a sudden, all the ideas started flowing in on what else they could move. And they're now about 3/4 of the way through moving several thousand applications to AWS, a second aggressive top-down goal that wouldn't have happened if they didn't set that goal to force the company to move. Now, let me give you a counterexample. I went to go see a company in the life sciences space, and it turned out that I knew the CIO through a friend of a friend. I'd never met him before, but we had this connection. And I got to the meeting, and they were a little bit late coming out to see us, and they were in with their CEO, and the CIO came out and said, I'm going to grab you. I think because he felt bad because we had this friend of a friend connection. And he said, before my infrastructure leader gets in the room, tell me how we're doing together. And I said, well, we're doing fine, but you're not doing very much with us. He said, oh, it's definitely not true. Like, I know we're doing a lot. I heard we got all kinds of workloads running. We're experimenting. We're kicking the tires. I said, well, you're using 3 EC2 instances. He said, it can't be right. And then his infrastructure leader came in the room, and he said, John, he said, are we doing a lot with AWS? He said, oh yeah, we're doing tons. We're kicking the tires, we're experimenting, we've got lots of things going. He said, how many EC2 instances are you using? And he said, I don't know, like 3 or 4. And he said, that's not what I mean by doing a lot, but it's easy to go a long period of time dipping your toe in the water if you don't have an aggressive goal that lets the organization know that it's a priority to make this transformation. By the way, that CIO went away 2 weeks later, set an aggressive top-down goal, and they're one of our top 5 life sciences customers today. But it needs that top-down aggressive goal. The third thing is you got to train people. Lots of times you have these conversations around a table, senior people get excited, they decide to move to the cloud, they come back to their companies and they say, good news, here's the cloud. And nobody has any experience using it. Now, it's not that hard to use the cloud, but it takes a little bit of training. So that's why we train hundreds of thousands of customers every year. And then the fourth thing that's important to do is that you got to make sure that you don't allow the organization to get paralyzed if you haven't been able to move, figure out how to move every last workload. What we do a lot with our customers is we will go and do a portfolio analysis where we will go through all their applications with them, and we'll classify them into the applications that are easy to move, medium hard to move, should go last because they have the most dependency and legacy, those that can easily be lifted and shifted, and those that should be re-architected before they move to the cloud. And we build with them a thoughtful, methodical, multi-year plan to migrate. And what companies find almost always is that so many workloads are relatively easily able to move to the cloud and get all those benefits. And in fact, they inform a lot of the later workloads that are the hardest ones to move. So you've got to make sure that you don't get paralyzed by that. So this first step of the transformation is not technical. It's very much about leadership. And it's about making sure you have senior level alignment, an aggressive top-down goal that forces the organization to move faster than it otherwise would, the right training, and then a thoughtful, methodical, multi-year plan to make that migration. Now, what you find is once as a company you make that decision that you're going to make this transformation and move to the cloud, your developers are